Hi guys, my name is Ffion and I am one of the Digital Horse Out of the Box brand ambassadors for 2020. As part of being on the Digital Horse brand ambassador scheme, we were very kindly sent some products to review, and I was sent these Woof Pro Tendon Boots. Before I take you back to when I first got these boots, I thought I would talk you through some of the specifications on them. So on the website they are described as a breathable pro tendon boot which offers protection against strike injuries and allows unrestricted movement of the joints. They are suitable for day-to-day wear as well as top-level competition, so are fully legal in all of your BSJ events. So a bit more detail into all of those things. There is a vented PU shell, so you can see the vent running all down the back. The PU shell is very hard and allows for protection against those strike injuries initially. The vents themselves, as you can see, have a contrasting mesh which I think makes the boots look a bit fancy and also stops grit and grime entering the vents and clogging them up, so they remain ventilated and working well throughout their life. In addition to that, they also have a AVA foam insert which again protects a bit more against the strike injuries and shock absorbs against the initial impact of any injuries of the hind legs hitting the front, which is what tendon boots are designed to do. They also have an ergonomic design, so as you can see they have the cutaway here, so the hard plastic ends and it's just the soft neoprene, and the same here, cut up at the joint, and the sides are all anatomically shaped to suit the joints, which really allows for the legs to move freely and all of those joints to be able to function as you want them to, especially when you're jumping, when you want the horses to be able to really tuck up and not get pinched by any boot. Inside they have 7mm of breathable neoprene with a nylon lining, so it's breathable because inside, I don't know how well you'll be able to see, but they have little holes punched through the neoprene to allow for ventilation and make sure the legs stay nice and cool. And the type of neoprene that they use is very, very durable. It is also designed to not absorb too much water, so for instance if you were to go on a hack through any sort of water or anything like that, they're designed to not take on too much water, so they will always remain very, very lightweight and won't get dragged down by any heavy water clinging onto them. And finally, to do with their strapping, as you can see they have a double secure strap that is elasticated, so it's double locked, which means it's very, very unlikely to undo. The velcro is super strong as well, and these straps are elasticated slightly. They're not overly elasticated, which is something that I actually really like about them. So they're very, very strong elastic, and I don't think they are going to stretch at all, or at least not for a considerable amount of time. So they have enough give to allow for the horse's leg to move, but not too much that you're going to worry about the straps stretching massively over time and then the boot becoming too loose or too big. So now I've spoken through some of the specifications, I will take you back to when I first tried on the boots on Arrow and guide you through all of those things. So here we are having our very first ride in the boots. This arena was just a short hack away, so I was just starting to warm up by just letting him stretch through his body and feel his way out, and then I started to pick him up into a bit more of a frame. This was probably his first time properly schooling in about 9 months, and definitely his first time seeing a fence in 9 months. So he was rather excited, but he jumped well. We didn't do anything much, but it was a great day to just test out the boots for the first ride and see how they worked on him, going through sort of a hack, a flat work session, and a bit of a jump as well. So I have just got back from my first ride in the Woof Pro Tendon Boots. As you can see from the video of me taking them off, his legs are completely dry, they're not sweaty at all. It is a fairly warm day and I certainly worked up a bit of a sweat, and he's sweaty under his girth, but under his boots he wasn't sweaty at all. So they still look pretty much brand new. They've got some slobber marks on him because he wiped his mouth on them, but they'll wipe off. The inside of the boot feels really, really cold still, which is nice because it obviously meant that he kept nice and cool. And yeah, they're looking good. They didn't move at all during the ride, and he seemed to enjoy jumping in them, so they didn't restrict him at all, which is great, and we will continue to test them over the coming weeks. So over the next few weeks, that is exactly what we did. He schooled in them, he hacked and covered an awful lot of miles out hacking in them. So here are a few clips of them in use for the past 3 weeks.
So I've been using the Woof Pro Tendon Boots for about 2 weeks now. I've had about 8 rides in them, and we've hacked a lot, so they've covered a lot of miles out hacking. They've been jumped in and they've been flat schooled in a few times as well. And given the fact that Arrow likes to slobber on them and wipe his nose all over them after every single ride, and due to the amount of hacking that we've been doing, they're looking a bit grubby. So we're going to give them a clean today and see how they come up after a wash. Now, on the Woofwear website it says that you can actually put these in the washing machine with all your straps closed at 30 degrees on a gentle spin, but unfortunately I cannot put them in a washing machine because I don't think my mum would be too impressed with me doing that. So I'm just going to wash them by hand and see how well they come up washing by hand. I know a lot of people don't always have access to putting boots in the wash, so we'll just do a simple clean and see how they come up at the end. They also mention on the website to make sure that you do not tumble dry them and do not leave them out in direct sunlight. So we'll do none of those things, and I'm going to give them a clean today and we'll see how it goes.
So here I am cleaning the boots. As I said, I was only cleaning them by hand this day, just using warm water, a cloth and a brush, just using the cloth on the outside to make sure I didn't scratch any of the outside shell, and then the brush as well on the inside to help me clean out any of the stubborn greases that wanted to lift a bit more. So just something to take in mind when you are washing these boots, whether that's in the washing machine or by hand, to be careful if you're using any type of soap that it contains any chemicals that may harm your horse. Just in case you don't wash them out properly, the last thing you want is any of those chemicals rubbing up against your horse's lower leg. So it is the morning after I washed the Woofwear boots, and I've just come up the field. It's about 8:30 and I'm going to ride Arrow before it gets too hot, although it's already about 22 degrees or something like that. But the boots last night dried in about 1.5 hours after I washed them, so they dried really quickly. So if you're looking to be able to wash them and use them on the same day, if you're washing them in the morning and you've got a competition in the afternoon, then I think that's definitely doable, especially if you're only hand washing them. They seem to dry very quickly. So as you would expect and hope, the outside came up absolutely sparkling. All the strapping is still like new. The only obviously damage is the scuffing that Arrow has put on them, and then the inside has come up really well. There's a few hairs left in them because I was only hand washing and I couldn't actually manage to get all the hairs out, but it's cleaned up really easily, and I was surprised. You know, it only took me about 5 minutes to clean them and they've come up this well, so really happy with how they are looking. Here are the boots. I think they look pretty much like new again. The strapping hasn't changed, the foam is all still the right size, it's not shrunk or anything from being washed and dried, and the straps all looking good as well. So here are the boots. As per usual, they have not moved. And we'll pull one off. It's very hot today. And this is what his legs look like underneath, and he's worked hard and they're not too warm at all. They hardly look like they've had boots on. Quick brush and I'm sure they'll be fine. What do you rate the boots, Arrow? He says I rate hard work as hard. For the past 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you have seen the boots on Arrow, who is a 16-1, 16-2 German sports horse warm blood type. He's not got the finest of legs, but he's equally not got the heaviest legs in the world. And the boots seem to fit him quite well. So they are advertised for 15-3 to 17-2 horses, and I thought I would use the other 2 horses as a size comparison to show how they would fit different types of horses. So I have Ziggy, who is a 15-hand, 15-1 Irish sports pony, overgrown, and is quite fine in the leg. So I've got him to try them on. Obviously I can't work them in these boots now because Ziggy has retired, but I thought I'd try them on just to see how they fit, things like that. And then I've also got my mum's horse Flicker, who is a 15-2, 15-3 Irish draft cross thoroughbred, so she's right on the border as to what size she should be. So I thought it'd be nice to show you a picture of how they would look on a horse like that. So here's Ziggy. Quick sort of a view of what type of stamp of pony he is. He's been retired for 2.5 years and still looks like he could compete tomorrow. But anyway, yes, do you agree? So his official height measurement is 151.5 centimetres. And he's an overgrown Irish sports pony, and this is what his legs look like. So all of his legs are he's got quite fine little legs, and this is the boot on them. I was really surprised. This boot is actually, width-wise, fits him very, very well. Having these fastenings, so you can see they stick out more on this side than they did on Arrow, but not too much, and they're still very, very secure. As I say, he is only 151 centimetres, so I would say I can fit a bit of room under here, which I wouldn't like, so he would be correct in having the smaller size, which is what is stated on the Woofwear website. So next we have Flicker. This is Flix. So she's 21, but is an Irish draft cross thoroughbred. So hence she's got a little bit of feather, but her legs aren't actually too big. So this is her legs. No, they aren't. So they've got a bit of feather to them, but they're not ridiculously big. So she is sort of 15-2, so she's really borderline with what the boots would do. And with her, again, the width doesn't seem to be an issue. They seem to be quite adjustable with the width and be able to mould to different shaped horses, which is really, really good. And with her, I would say these are a really, really good fit. So as you can see from me trying the boots on Ziggy and Flicker as 2 extra models, the boots actually seem to fit quite a wide range of horses. They seem to cope quite well with different widths of legs, which I was surprised about, because on Arrow the strap seemed to be really, really perfect, but actually on Ziggy, whose legs are much, much finer than Arrow's, the width was not an issue at all. They were still equally secure, and there was still plenty of Velcro left if you needed to make them even narrower than that. So they seem to fit width-wise on Flicker, Ziggy and Arrow equally as well, so I don't think you have to worry about the width of your horse's legs as much, unless you have something with an awful lot of feather. Then there may be a little bit more room to play with. And then the only sort of difference I found is the fact that Ziggy would obviously need the smaller boot because his cannon bones are just that much shorter because he's a smaller horse. So that is something to bear in mind if you're thinking about buying these boots, to really consider the length of your horse's cannon bone rather than worrying about the thickness of it. I know a lot of people with sort of cobs would possibly think that they need to size up, but unless they've got a longer cannon bone, I don't think those boots would suit them sized up. I haven't tried the smaller size, so I don't know if they're quite as adjustable, but I'm presuming that they are just a shorter version of this and possibly ever so slightly narrow, so they won't go quite as wide, but I don't think you will have too much of an issue fitting them to a variety of different ponies. So you've just seen me use these Woofwear Pro Tendon Boots for the past 3 weeks, and I've got to say I've been very, very happy with them overall. I thought I would go through sort of a few things with my final thoughts, and I'm going to start with the look of them. So the boots look very, very nice from the outside. They're quite a simple boot, but I really, really like that. I don't like sort of big fancy things, but they do have some really, really nice details which really help show off the quality of the boot. So they've even added a little bit of glitter onto the logo, which I think is just a nice touch. We all love a bit of bling on our boots. And then the vents down the back have just got a contrasting colour, which just is a little detail that makes the boots look that much smarter. And then again, you've got the Woofwear logo at the top, which is quite nice. It's a little bit shinier than the rest of the plastic, so it just sort of pops out a little bit, and it's just a small quality detail that I really like. So next I thought I would talk about the actual design of these boots. So tendon boots were initially sort of designed to protect the front tendons from strike injuries off the hind feet. When horses are jumping and overreaching and striking forward with their hind feet, it can be quite easy for them to catch a hind hoof into the back of the tendon, which can obviously cause a lot of damage. So that is the real function of a tendon boot. So Woofwear have thought that through, and they've provided us with a nice hard shell to protect against the initial sort of impact of the shoe itself on the boot, and then also provided the EVA foam on the insides to help shock absorb any more impact that would be ricocheted towards the tendon itself. Now that's quite a simple part of making a tendon boot. There are lots of other things that you then have to consider. You're strapping a boot onto the front leg of a horse that you then want to jump. So you're wanting to make sure that these boots are not going to move anywhere. They really can't afford to move. If they slip down, they're going to stop the horse being able to bend its joints properly. So Woofwear have provided us with a really nice double secure strap, so it's not going to come undone. The Velcro is super strong, and then the straps are also slightly elasticated to give slightly to any movement within the horse's lower leg. They've also been designed and shaped to make sure that when they are sat in the correct place and fitted correctly, they are not going to block any of the joints. So the joint is all of the joints, the knee and the fetlock joint are really going to be able to tuck up like we want them to when they're jumping a fence without getting pinched or anything like that. Another really important thing when you are then putting a piece of plastic around a horse's leg is to make sure it's going to fit them nicely and it's comfortable. So although the outer shell is hard against the impact and is very sturdy back here, the actual sides have some flexibility to them, so they'll be able to mould to the shape of the horse's leg very easily. And as I've shown with putting them on Ziggy and Flicker, they really do adapt to different widths of leg very, very well. The inside is comfortable with the neoprene that's super soft and comfy, so it's not putting hard plastic directly against their skin, and they shouldn't cause any rubs or anything like that, which is again very important. And finally, another important thing to consider, which actually took us a long time to consider in the equine world, is that strapping a boot like this around a horse's leg is all well and good, but it causes tendons to actually heat up because you're trapping the heat of the leg and not letting it release. So these boots have been thought through with well-designed vents and holes on the inside to help the leg stay as cool as possible while still protecting them from everything else. So next I'm going to talk about the fit of these boots. So it ties very much into the design of them. They are designed very, very well in order to fit the horse's leg, and as I mentioned before, they have the plastic that is ever so slightly flexible that really allows them to mould and shape to different horses' legs, and they are designed cut away to fit nicely between the horse's joints. I think they will fit a wide range of horses, providing you follow the guide on the website. So I think the fit of these boots is very, very nice. They didn't rub, they didn't move, they didn't twist, which shows me that they really did fit very, very well. Now Arrow does have a very bad tendency of knocking his legs together, so you can see on the inside of the fetlock where he has actually scuffed the inside, which to me is really not a big deal. He does this to all boots, no matter what you do. And I would actually much rather he did it to the boots than he did it to his legs. So he scuffed the inside of the boot, which is just a slight aesthetic sort of thing. He only does it when he jumps. But the boots didn't get twisted or move when he did any of that. So obviously the boots were rubbing past each other quite often, but they didn't move, they didn't twist, they really stayed secure on his leg, which is something really important when you've got a horse that brushes his legs together. So these boots also come in two sizes. They come in a large to extra large, which it translates as a full to extra full, which is what these are, which are designed for 15.3 to 17.2 hand-high horses, and then a smaller size, which is for large ponies and small horses, which is designed for 14.2s to 15.3s. So they don't have a boot for the very, very small little ponies, but they have a boot for everything that is 14.2 and upwards. They're also available in white instead of black. So next I thought I would talk about the quality and the price. So these boots are available on the Woofwear website for £45, which I think is a really, really good price for these boots. They are really, really well made, very high quality. All of the stitching and details are very, very nice, and all of the materials feel like a very high quality materials all put together to make this boot. The design was very, very well thought through as well, so I think the price of £45 is a very, very good value boot, whether that's you buying them for a competition boot or an everyday boot. You know, as an everyday boot that's being proven to be robust and still well thought through, I think £45 is a very good price to pay. You can get cheaper boots on the market, but from my experience they are not as high a quality as this, and then their design is really not as well thought through. They are just a piece of plastic with some foam to protect against strike injuries. So these boots have been well thought through to function well, but also keep the quality high and the price really reasonable. So there we have it. That is my final review on these Woofwear Pro Tendon Boots. I really loved using them, and I'm definitely going to continue to use them all of the time. They're a great quality boot, and I highly recommend them to anyone that's looking for an everyday boot or a competition boot that is a really good price, really good value and great design. So if you are looking into buying them yourself, I will put the link to the website and where you can find them on the screen now. And just at the end of this video, I would love to say a huge thank you to Digital Horse for providing me with this opportunity to review such a high quality product like this, such a great brand. I am so grateful for all the opportunities that you are trying to give us this year, especially considering the circumstances it's under. If you have somehow stumbled across this video without knowing what Digital Horse is, then let me tell you. Digital Horse is essentially an equestrian exclusive social media, but in reality it's become a great deal more than that. It was originally designed to be a 100% hate-free social media specifically for equestrians, so that we could post all of the photos and videos of our horses that we liked without clogging up our Facebook newsfeed and bothering our non-horsey friends. It has calendars and training histories and competition histories, so not only is it a social media, it is basically a personal organiser for us equestrians as well. But in doing so, the Digital Horse team created a worldwide community that has been so supportive to every equestrian that's joined. It welcomes and supports every equestrian and has become a massive worldwide family. So if you share your love for horses and want to find a safe and happy place to do it, then Digital Horse is the place to go.